Hello and good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Yes, sir. This is Shelby with the radio tour for The Hate You Give and Concrete Rose. Is this Arrow?
That would be me.
All right, perfect. Yes, sir. She's currently wrapping up her previous interview, but I do have you going on in about 2 minutes, and we do have you at a hard out at 9:45 a.m. Eastern. All right?
Yeah, probably a little bit earlier than that because I have a different 9:45, so I'll be in a little bit earlier than that.
All right, perfect. Yes, sir. Even better. And I do want to confirm this is being taped, correct?
Yeah.
And can I have the air date?
Sunday.
All right. Perfect. Yes, sir. Just give me a few minutes, and I'll let you know as soon as I join you in.
Beautiful.
All right, sir. I'm joining you in with Angie now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're now joined with Arrow.
Hello and good morning. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. I love your story, and the reason why I love your story is because there's a continuation. It's like a seed reaching water, becomes a tree, becomes a page, becomes where we put our thoughts. It grows to people who are going to read it and or listen to it. You have done the same exact thing with the Concrete Rose and the Hate You Give. I mean, I just love the way that you have a continuation here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I have to give my readers credit. They're the reason Concrete Rose exists.
And isn't that amazing? I mean, mindfulness is a great place to hang your hat, because when you start recognizing those that are picking up what has basically developed inside of you, I mean, you've got to recognize them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the readers led their conversations of what led to me creating Concrete Rose, their questions about the character of Maverick, and to know that they cared that much about this character, to ask me so many questions really means a lot. But for those questions and those conversations to in turn inspire me, it shows the power of books and the power of the conversation that books can create, not just for the people who read them, but for the creators who create them.
What's inspiring about what you have done here with these two books is the fact that you had to basically, you were blessed with the opportunity to go back into the past saying, hey, look, there's a story before the story, and I'm going to share it with you.
Yes. And Maverick is a character that so many readers wanted to know how he became the father and the man and the husband that we see in The Hate U Give, because we know from The Hate U Give that he has a past, that he was once involved in a gang, he was once in prison, he once sold drugs, and that doesn't necessarily line up with what people see as outstanding father, outstanding husband, outstanding community leader. So I wanted to show how this 17 years old, how he starts to become the man we later see, because I know mavericks. I know plenty of them. I know these men who have turned their lives around and who aren't given enough credit, and their stories aren't told nearly enough. So I wanted to show this is how he turns his life around. This is how he becomes the man we later see. Also in hopes that it'll inspire the real mavericks out there to know that, hey, there's a chance for you too.
There are mavericks out there. And don't you think that it starts with learning to listen to someone's story and get the label off from them? There's something inside their mind, body, and soul.
Absolutely. My books have been in a lot of conversations about, don't bring political discourse into classrooms. But when I'm sitting down, I'm never thinking about politics when I write these stories. I'm thinking about perspective. Mm-hmm. That's the word I keep going back to, but I'm thinking about the perspectives that I'm presenting. And I'm thinking about the real people who will see themselves in these characters and see their real lived experiences in these characters. I'm thinking about the mirrors that I'm going to create for them, but then I'm thinking about doors and the windows that I'm going to create for somebody else who's not accustomed to seeing this. So it's important for me when I'm sitting down to make these people as real and as whole as possible and to present their perspective without distortion.
A point of view is something that people, I think, get lost in. We all feel like that, well, what we said is the point of view, but do we understand what we're saying? And what I love about your two books is the fact that you're saying, look, get a grip of what's going on in reality, and let's have a true point of view and not an assumed point of view.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when it comes to young Black men, we make so many assumptions about them. Yep. We don't give them enough grace. We don't give them enough of a chance. And we don't ask ourselves why nearly enough when it comes to them. We just look at the what. And as an author, specifically when writing Maverick Story and Concrete Road, I wanted to focus on the why. Why is this young man involved in these things? Why is he in this game? He wants safety. Who can't understand wanting to be safe? Why does he sell drugs? He wants to provide financially for his family. Who can't understand wanting to provide for the people you care about? Those are all very human feelings and very human desires. So if we start looking at the human side of these situations more in real life as well, maybe we can start focusing on changing these things so that these young people don't have to fall into these terrible decisions.
And it starts with empathy. You've got to be able to understand, why is he selling drugs? How about to keep electricity on in the house? How about to keep food on the table? We have to be able to have empathy and a true understanding of what life is like on their path.
Absolutely. Empathy over sympathy is my go-to. We need more empathy. It's easy to say, oh, I'm sorry that happened. It's harder to look at it and say, oh, wow, I feel it. I get it. I understand it. I know why this is happening. I understand you. I understand what you're feeling. And we are deficient on empathy as a society. And we need more of it. And I think books are a great way to fill up the empathy well a bit more.
I got to tell you, as an author, when I read that both of these books were coming out in paperback, the first thing that I felt in my heart was, oh my God, she is going to reach more people. She's going to get this book into people's hands that would have walked by.
That's what I hope. But the big thing for me too is now this means that it can reach the incarcerated population as well. Yes. I've had a lot of juvenile detention centers reach out to me, and the teachers and the librarians there are like, I'm struggling because I'm trying to print out copies using my printer. So I hope that this will be available in paperback. And now I can tell them it is available in paperback, because the real mavericks who are in these juvenile detention centers and the real stars who may be in these juvenile detention centers, they need these books now. So I'm thankful that it's going to reach them now.
In your moments of solitude and gratefulness, what moves through you? Because, you got to understand, these words started inside your imagination. They were planted inside your soul by a greater universe. What is it like for you to experience this? Because there are writers that are listening right now going, I've got things, but I don't have the courage to release them.
I say do the thing that makes you afraid. Do the thing that scares you the most. I was terrified to do The Hate U Give. I was terrified to write that book. In fact, it took me making one simple decision, and that was to tweet to a literary agent and ask if this was a subject matter worth writing about for my whole life to change. I was terrified to even ask that question. So do the thing that you're afraid to do, because a lot of times the thing you're afraid to do, the thing you're afraid to write, especially, is the thing you're supposed to write. Usually if we're afraid as a creative, it's because we're tapping into something that is personal to us. We're tapping into some deep emotion, and we're sometimes afraid to be vulnerable in that sense. But those are the stories that impact people the most. So I say do it. Do the thing you're afraid to do. Write that story you're afraid to write. Do it. And I promise you, it's going to not just affect you, but it's going to affect someone else.
When did you realize that you had a relationship with that inner core, that creative person? Because so many people want to ignore the inner feelings and things like that. They want to have an image out here on the outside shell, when in fact, life is all about what's on the inside.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. And I credit my faith a lot, but also in my desire to see the things that I've seen in my mind, see them come to life on the page. That's what kept me going. That's what keeps me going all the time. People ask me, what makes you want to write and keep going through and push through and write? It's because I want to see the end. I want to see how it ends. And I think as a creative, you always want to see that finished product. So you have to keep pushing to get to that finished product because, it's kind of like being pregnant. I haven't had a child. I have a dog, but that's nowhere near the same. But, I can imagine what it's like. You have that anticipation as this thing is growing inside of you, and you're getting closer and closer to that moment, and you can't wait for the day that child becomes, a reality right in front of you, and you're holding it. It's the same way for a creative. So, all of those ideas you writers out there are pregnant with, you got to keep pushing so that you can one day hold that baby.
My God, I could talk to you all day. You got to come back to this show anytime in the future, because the door is always, always going to be open for you.
Thank you so much.
You be brilliant and keep writing, because writing really is the communication of reaching tomorrow's readers.
Absolutely, 1,000%. 1,000%.